Stop. Before you watch another video about diet plans, calorie deficits, or workout routines, you need to hear this first. Because if you are doing everything right and still cannot lose belly fat, the answer is not on your plate, it is not in your gym program, and it has nothing to do with your willpower. It is happening at 3 in the morning while you are asleep and you have no idea it is occurring. Every single night, a hormonal chain reaction is quietly triggered inside your body that instructs your fat cells to hold on, signals your muscles to break down, and makes your midsection biologically resistant to shrinking, no matter what you eat the next day. One hormone is behind all of it, and until you understand what is driving it and why it spikes while you sleep, you will keep spinning your wheels. Stay with me for the next few minutes because what I'm about to show you will completely change the way you think about fat loss and give you a specific, science-backed fix you can use tonight. We have been handed one piece of advice for fat loss that sounds logical. Eat less, move more, sleep well. On paper, that works, but biology is not a spreadsheet. It does not respond to your intentions. It responds to your hormones. Cortisol, the hormone released whenever your body experiences stress, is the most misunderstood chemical in the fat loss conversation. We talk about it like it only shows up when you're nervous before a presentation or stuck in traffic. What we never discuss is what cortisol does to your body composition at the cellular level, or how elevated nighttime cortisol can make it biologically impossible to burn fat from your midsection, no matter how disciplined your daytime habits are. That is the conversation we're having right now. To understand why cortisol is destroying your results, you have to understand the relationship between your brain and your blood sugar. Your brain is the most metabolically expensive organ in your body. It makes up roughly 2% of your body weight, but consumes nearly 20% of your daily energy. Unlike your muscles, which can burn fat directly for fuel, your brain runs almost exclusively on glucose. It is the pickiest eater in the house. When you fall asleep, you stop feeding it. You enter a fasted state. For the next 7 to 9 hours, your brain depends entirely on your liver to keep it alive. Your liver stores glucose as glycogen. Think of it as a backup generator. During the day, every time you eat, that generator recharges. While you sleep, it quietly releases a steady drip of glucose into the bloodstream to keep your brain fueled and your heart beating. Under normal circumstances, a healthy liver holds enough glycogen to last through the night, but for people carrying chronic stress, that generator is already running on fumes before they turn off the light. Here's where it gets important. Stress, specifically the kind of low-grade, relentless daily stress that most modern people carry around without even recognizing it, burns through liver glycogen at an accelerated rate. Every anxious thought, every spike of caffeine, every argument, every deadline is quietly draining your liver's fuel reserve throughout the day. So by the time your head hits the pillow, your liver may be only partially charged. You fall asleep fine. The first few hours of sleep are usually normal, but somewhere around 2 or 3 in the morning, the generator runs dry. Your blood glucose drops, and the moment it drops below a threshold the brain considers safe, your body triggers an emergency alarm. The adrenal glands receive an urgent signal and immediately flood your bloodstream with 2 hormones, adrenaline and cortisol. Adrenaline wakes you up. That's why you snap awake at 3 a.m., not slowly, not groggily, but sharply, eyes open, heart pounding, mind immediately active. You are awake because your adrenal glands just injected you with a chemical emergency kit to prevent your brain from running out of fuel. But the second hormone, cortisol, is where your fat loss program quietly falls apart.
Cortisol and belly fat. Cortisol's job in this emergency is to raise blood sugar as fast as possible. And the fastest way your body knows how to do that in the absence of food is gluconeogenesis, which is the process of breaking down your own lean tissue, specifically muscle protein, and converting it into glucose. This means that every night you experience this pattern, your body is essentially eating your muscle to keep your brain alive. That is the first problem, but here is the second, and this is the one that explains why your belly specifically is growing. Cortisol does not just break down muscle, it also actively directs fat storage toward one specific region, the visceral area around your midsection. This is a survival mechanism. Visceral fat is located close to your liver and digestive organs, so the body can access it quickly in future emergencies. From an evolutionary standpoint, this makes perfect sense. If your body thinks you are under chronic threat, it wants its emergency fuel depot located as close to the engine room as possible. The result is that even if you are in a caloric deficit during the day, elevated nighttime cortisol can override that deficit by signaling your fat cells to hold on and your abdominal region to accumulate. You're dieting against your own hormones, and hormones always win. Growth hormone. There is one more piece to this puzzle that makes the situation even more consequential. The single most powerful fat-burning window in your entire 24-hour cycle is deep, slow-wave sleep. During this phase, your pituitary gland releases pulses of human growth hormone, which is the most potent body recomposition chemical your body produces. Growth hormone preserves muscle, mobilizes fat from storage, repairs tissue, and keeps you metabolically efficient as you age. But cortisol and growth hormone are physiological opposites. When cortisol is elevated, growth hormone is suppressed. The two cannot operate at full capacity simultaneously. So when your blood sugar crashes at 3 a.m. and cortisol surges to compensate, you completely miss the most important fat-burning event of the night. You go from a regenerative, lean-building state to a catabolic, fat-storing state, all while you are unconscious and completely unaware it is happening. Protocol. So how do you fix this? The answer is not a sleeping pill. It is not more melatonin. Those approaches address the symptom, which is the waking, without touching the root cause, which is the blood sugar crash. The solution is to prevent the crash from happening in the first place by giving your liver the right kind of fuel before bed. Here's a specific protocol to consider. About 30 minutes before sleep, consume a small amount of raw honey, approximately 1 teaspoon. Honey has a unique biochemical property. It contains a natural fructose to glucose ratio that sends fructose directly to the liver for glycogen replenishment rather than to the muscles. It essentially tops off the generator. But you cannot take honey alone because a fast-digesting sugar without a fat buffer can cause a spike and then a secondary crash. You need to pair it with a small amount of healthy fat. A teaspoon of almond butter, MCT oil, or even a small amount of grass-fed butter works well. The fat slows digestion and turns a short sugar burst into a sustained, hours-long glucose release. The final element is glycine, an amino acid found naturally in collagen and bone broth. Research published in peer-reviewed sleep journals has demonstrated that glycine supplementation before bed significantly improves sleep quality and helps lower core body temperature, which is a critical trigger for deep, slow-wave sleep. Glycine also functions as an inhibitory neurotransmitter, calming neurological activity and reducing the physiological impact of stress hormones on the brain. Combined, these three elements give your liver a slow-burning fuel reserve, blunt the cortisol response, and create the biochemical conditions for growth hormone to do its job. A small scoop of collagen peptides dissolved in warm water or chamomile tea with honey and a fat source is the delivery method. One important note: this intervention is specifically for people experiencing the pattern described here. If you already sleep soundly through the night, additional pre-bed calories are unnecessary.
Objection handling. The most common objection is obvious. Won't eating before bed cause fat gain? Without context, yes, extra calories can be stored. But context is everything in biology. For someone whose nighttime cortisol is chronically elevated, the metabolic damage from that cortisol cascade The muscle loss, the fat redistribution, the insulin resistance that accumulates over time is vastly more harmful than 40 calories of honey. You are making a minimal caloric investment to prevent a hormonal disaster. That is not overeating. That is metabolic management. Circadian reset. Address the morning, too. If your cortisol has been chronically elevated at night, your natural rhythm is likely inverted. You need to reset it. Within 30 minutes of waking, expose your eyes to natural outdoor light. Even on cloudy days, outdoor light is far brighter than anything indoors. This signal anchors the cortisol clock, telling your body to produce cortisol now, in the morning where it belongs, so it tapers correctly by evening. Also, delay your first coffee by 90 minutes after waking. Your cortisol naturally peaks in the first hour after rising. Adding caffeine on top of that peak overstimulates the adrenal glands and sets up a cycle of afternoon crashes and nighttime dysregulation. Close. Your body is not broken. It is responding perfectly to the signals it is receiving. If you're waking at night and carrying stubborn belly fat that refuses to move, your body is not failing you. It is communicating with you. The 3 a.m. wake-up is not insomnia. It is a data point. It is your liver signaling that it ran out of fuel, your adrenal glands saying they're overworked, and your metabolism asking for a different strategy. When you stop fighting the symptom and start addressing the root cause, stabilizing blood sugar through the night, keeping cortisol low, letting growth hormone do its job, the body begins to change. Sleep deepens. Inflammation drops. The midsection flattens. Not because of a diet trick, but because you finally gave your biology what it actually needed. That is how real, lasting fat loss works. Not against your body, with it.